Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. We're going to be talking predators. We're going to be talking pike. We're going to be talking big waters. No, we're going to be talking pike from small streams, small rivers, very, very small watercourses. They are in there. They generally thrive on neglect. So if you can find somewhere that's not really hammered and has been left alone a long time, the chances are the small little bait fish, you know, they love all that tangled vegetation. They love anything that's overgrown. If they're about, trust me, the pike will find them, will eat them, and the pike can grow as well. So good chance of catching a few fish. But the most important thing is not the tackle. It's looking to find where these pike might be lying, because obviously it's a stream, it's a river, it's moving quite fast. You need to find little pockets of where they could be, where you put that bait or lure. What am I going to be using? No prizes for that. Twitched sprat. Let's get down there and hopefully I can pass on a few of my totally awesome tips on how to look for pike in small streams. Let's get cracking. And the part about small stream fishing is, yes, this jungle, vegetation, overgrown, overhangs. Even that branch in the water's creating a tiny little bit of slack just at the back of that stick, right in there where you can see me trying to zoom in. The current pauses, just look at the speed of the bubbles and it tells you. Here is a classic stretch for, say, species like roach. Nice steady flow, not too fast, not too slow. And here's another one. Speeded up on the far bank, you can see the current's pushing, but just look close behind this fallen down tree. It's almost static there. You can see by that single leaf there. Another one, you can get spots like this where there's a little fork and there'll be another side stream coming in, or overhangs, tree roots, rushes, anything you can spot that basically creates a pause in the current. Now look at this, is a classic one. On the left there you can see a much bigger bay. You see the bridge going over it. That's caused by cattle or animals going in there to drink. And what they've done basically is wear that bay down over the years and made it probably 2 or 3 times as wide as the river's width is normally. And that slack creates these rushes here. So you can see the rushes. Now the main current goes across fast on the back of the stream, but from 2/3 all the way to say where I'm standing, that's slack, that's pike. Don't be afraid to get up there on the bridges, take a look and see what that current looks like. You might be able to spot fish, you might even be able to see the bait fish down there. You know, you can see anything, but you're looking for slacks, you're looking for snags that might create a change in the flow of the river, and that's what you're looking for. Now, another place to look for, look at those nice steel pilings over on the far side. But look at the pace of the current in the middle of the river, and then look where I'm zooming in. Those leaves are actually going back upstream. There's an eddy there, and that's where I would be if I was a pike or perch, any form of predator. I wouldn't want to be laying in a fast current. I'm going to want to be over there on the slack, just biding my time. Same here, look on the inside of me this time, fast current on the outside, slower down by my feet. Now when it bounces off that far bank and those bushes, down on the left hand side there's going to be a little bit of a pausing or slowing of the current. Most roach fishermen would look at it and say, oh yeah, classic roach swim. You know, just down here, if I move down a bit further I'll show you. There you can see that is slightly deeper and much slower, less swirly, more likely to get roach. Bang bang, get those ducks out of the way. Another classic spot here, a side stream coming in. Now when I was there on this day, there's coloured water coming in on one side but clear water on the other side. It creates a fork in the river, the little island creates a bit of a slack, and behind those rushes is the place to send out my sprat on a mission to search out a predator. Get yourself out there, my little silver flashy friend. Now you'll notice, being a small stream, that almost as soon as that hits the water, I started twitching it back. Maybe with one SSG I'm only about Well, I've got a single hook on there, as you can see. I'm trying to get away from treble hooks totally now. I'm not even using the VB doubles. I can get away with just a single hook and the accelerated cast there, which I'll talk about later. Twitch it in the back of the slack, so you're looking for anywhere that's a bit slower. To be honest, if I was fishing a slack like this, I would give it at least 6 or 8 casts, working the sprat from there round to about 10 o'clock on the left, and I would give my sprat, well, no more than a second or two before I started twitching it, moving it. Now watch the accelerated cast if I did do it again later in here, and you can just flick it out. That's a normal cast. By accelerating it, I can actually pull on my left hand with a loose line and flick it out. Here we go, fish about to get hooked up, guys. Just feel for the take. If you get any form of a bump, check the drag first. Undo it if you have to, so you don't bust anything off. I'm on 12 to 15 pound line. I'm on a 4.99 rod. If I feel that bump, just pause. You'll feel a little tap, a little draw on the line. Then you know it is a pike and not a snag, and you can actually reel down, wind that's any slack out the line, and hit it. Game on. Why I like using these little light rods, they give you absolutely great sport. You can adjust the drag, the rod is bent absolutely right round double. Now if you see that pike absolutely powering it and dragging, trying to get me under the roots of that tree on the left, what can I do? I can barely stop it. Yeah, it's a nice pike from a tiny stream. Just look at the action I'm getting here on a twitch sprat. Keep that pressure on a light rod. You don't need great big 2 pound test curve pike rods. Watch this guy go airborne. Woo! That's pretty. That's what I like to see on a light tackle, single hook. Wow, this is what it's all about. Small stream fishing. There's some good fish in there. Do not neglect them. And another thing, guys, always make sure your net's close by. Now that's a bit of shot for everybody who watched Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Graeme Pullen, and he's got the net by his feet, right to hand. There we go, twitch sprat, small stream, job done. A really pretty good pike on a very light rod.
Not the greatest conditions today with the rain last night. It's coloured up the water, so I got very lucky with this one. It's down just on the inside of one of the slacks I was mentioning about earlier. Nice pike on the twitch sprat, single hook. Fantastic. Let's get it back in the water. And do you know what? The sun's even come out as well. Mike's not here, but another gentleman's come along. Yes, he recognises us. Your name is?
Joe.
Joe recognises us from the Totally Awesome Fishing Show, and he's doing the filming for me today. So when you see this, you'll know that Joe did the filming. Let's get this guy back. There we go.
That's perfect camouflage, isn't it?
It is, and you point him right down and come right over about there. And it makes you jump as well, and you get wet shoes as a bonus.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for helping. Appreciate it.
That's okay.
Let's get back into finding those tips, because finding the spots are what a lot of anglers have trouble with. So here I am. I'm on a stretch of the river. It's just fished by loads and loads of people normally. They've all gone home. There's a bit of colour in the water, but hey ho, hang on. Mr. Super Sleuth Detective has found out that an angler had left here recently because that ground bait is still partly powdered, still mixed up, and you can see somebody down there been fishing with bread as well, presumably for roach. If he's fishing for roach, there's a good chance there's going to be pike in there. The pike will be attracted by the roach moving to this guy's ground bait. So if you do see ground bait on the deck like that, you want to get in there and have a good fish, cover that area for at least well, 5 minutes before you move on. You've got to keep mobile, you've got to keep on the move with small streams. Each swim, probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 casts each, twitch that sprat through there. Now, make sure when you hook the sprat, and I'm just on a single hook here, there's the shot right up against the hook. It must go through the centre of the throat latch, what we call the throat latch, and come out right between the eyes in the little bit of bony head that the sprat does have. Now, most of the casting, when guys say the sprats come off all the time, they come off because they try and cast them too hard. I use sprats for close in, medium, close to medium fishing, that's all. I use the accelerated cast there, right over on the far bank, where that water slows just before it goes on the bend. Ordinarily, if that water wasn't coloured, I would expect to get a pike take there, probably on the first 10 seconds of twitching the bait back.
Well, it's windy. You won't get much sound up here, guys, but I just had a blinding take right on the surface, boiled on the surface, right by this snag, just down there. As I said earlier, just got to look for this pocket fishing for pike. Got to wind down and hit this fish. Didn't look a bad fish. I thought first off 2 pounds, 3 pounds, might be bigger. I'll put the head cam on and we'll get some action, I hope.
Before you hit the fish, I'm trying to get downstream of it because I want to pull the hooks in better, because I don't forget the fish, when he's taking the bait, he's pointing upstream. I'm just feeling, I'll wait for a bump or two, and here I go. Let it tighten up, draw back the rod slowly, and whammo, hook that fish up. Even on my favourite 4.99 rod. Now I'm downstream of the fish, so I've got a bit of control of it, and he's screaming off downstream. Obviously not a 2 pound pike, this one. There's not a great number of pike in this river. Well, it's just a cross between the stream and a river really, this one's so small. Where's the net? Oh yeah, I see. Okay, Graeme, well done about walking downstream. But that's just for hooking the fish. I'll try to walk back up, pick the net up, and then I want to get back down to a place where I know there's a slight pause in the current down by my feet, and that's the place. I don't want to be dragging it right the way through the fast water, because you could, if it's got a light hook hold, actually tear the hook out. You can see the fantastic sport, and don't forget guys, I do all this fishing, this whole film, the entire film is done by myself, and just a little small camera, so you know, I've got to do the best I can on trying to fight the fish and get you guys some pictures as well. So I'm trying to get the best I can out of this. It's always difficult. When I go with Mike, we get generally a really good quality film, but when you're on your own, it's difficult to try and portray and get everything on there, especially the action. I just love the bend in these light rods. As I say, make sure you do not use light line.
That is a beauty. Look at that fish. At least, I think it goes 7. Really nice fish. First cast, just behind that mark, behind that broken bush there, it's fallen down. He absolutely came up and mullered that sprat. Was that a move worth making? I think so. What a cracker. Let's get it back. Got about an hour of light left. I'm going to be twitching sprats again. Small stream fishing, yes sirree, it's worth doing.
Always hold the pike with his head upstream so he gets plenty of oxygen going over his gills. Just support him in the water till you'll feel when he's ready to go. He'll pull away, just balance your fingers, lightly hold him, and let him go under his own steam. When he's ready, he will pull away, he will go, but don't just tip them straight back out of the net. Now then, moving on, here's another swim. You can see as an old winter storm has pushed this tree down in the water, and that's caused most of the fast current to come on my bank, but look over on the far bank, yep, there's a tree growing in the side that hasn't fallen over, a nice slack, a nice pause there that will probably hold some pike, And if I move down another 20 yards or so, if you just look across the back, there's a horizontal tree laying across there. There's another spot, a tiny slack there.
This is interesting, guys. I'm looking down while I'm fishing on the edge of the bank and I see a piece of plastic line. Just a piece of plastic wire, but it's new plastic, it's not old. I think, what's that doing down there? It can't have been washed in from any flood. And I think it's a stake, an anchor line for somebody that's coming down here. We won't speak about them too much, obviously, where they come from. I feel they're not the indigenous people of Britain. And they put a trot line or a dead line out here, right where I had the pike. Thank goodness that pike's lucky to be alive. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so there it is. As you can see, it looks like a brand new piece of line buried around this stake here, and they tie off their dead line on the edge of this, throw it out in the water, and then come back during the dark hours, cut it off, pull the fish in, kill it, and one assumes eat it. But there you can see it coiled up. Nice new plastic, not been there like years, has it? And it's tied around this stake there. Nice neat knot. Obviously wire doesn't tie itself in knots, does it? You know, it doesn't tie itself in knots. Somebody has to tie it to a stake, and that's what that's for. It's right opposite where I caught the pike. Sad, but a fact of life in British river fishing. Shame we don't have guns over here and that we could really sort this out big time.
If you do cast upstream, remember you need to wind faster than the speed of the current, otherwise the bait's just going to be hanging in the water and bumping down. It won't look very twitchy or natural. And always feel, if you do snag the bottom, just hold the line lightly, but across your fingers you should either see the rod top kick or you should feel that drawing tension as the pike moves off across the stream with the bait in his jaws. You'll also notice I rarely on these small streams or small rivers, I rarely use an overhead cast. I don't want to go up the trees. I want to use an underhand cast and maybe accelerate it by pulling the line with my free left hand, because I'm a right-handed fisherman, and that helps accelerate the line. This is just a standard cast like that. I just toss it up, shut the bail arm, and then I wind straight away, but I want to try and keep it coming faster than the current of the river. Whoa, was that a take, Graeme? Just feel it? No, that was weed. So if you get weed, you know just to retrieve a little bit faster and you can keep that bait coming across the top. Now what I'm doing here is I'm walking downstream to keep pace with that and still twitching it at the same time, because I want to let that sprat twitch around in a big arc and come underneath these tree roots where the water slows up, is deeper and slacker. I don't necessarily want to spook any fish down there by dropping the bait on their head. Here's the accelerated cast coming. Watch how I pull with the left hand. Here it comes. Bang. Got right over to the other side by casting underhand and pulling a piece of line, really basically with my left hand. I accelerate it. I call it accelerated underhand cast, and that's what I use a lot for twitch sprat. I do not like casting overhead because there might be trees, might be snags. You can see there's two swims there over on the back. One is just behind the first tree. I'm just going to try and get the bait in there. Watch this, here we go. Flick and accelerate, pop, right in the money. I would generally expect to get a pike in the first 5 to 10 seconds, you know, of that sinking down. But over just another bush there, slightly to the left, that also has created a tiny slack by the far bank that could also hold a pike. And here we go. I've had a take. Get the net organised. The antique net still going strong. Still held together with bits of electrical stretch tape. But I'm not going to hook the fish there. I want to get down, passing my rod around the trees, around any snags, so I don't have any hassle if the fish does take off downstream. That way I'm in a pretty clear area where I can play the fish, I can move up, I can move downstream. I've got a little bit of an area to move around in. I'm not going to get stuck, because you never know here. There could be a big pike there. I'm just waiting for him to tighten up, whack, set that hook 2 or 3 times. Game on. Now, of course, you could try lures, but with small streams, it's invariably weed. It's going to be a lot shallower. I like twitching a sprat because I can always take that shot off, that SSG, and then the sprat sinks very, very, very slowly. So I can bring that sprat in shallow water, medium water, or deep water. I can change throughout the day depending on the current. Here we go, another pike in the net. Does the method work? Yes, indeedy. And if you do get a pike that gets a hook in a net like this, just get the hook out of the fish first, leave the hook in the forceps, drop the whole shebang down into the net like that. Worry about the fish first, because you can always sort that out later. Not a monster pike, but hey guys, it's another pike from a small stream, small river. You don't have to go on big waters to catch fish. Well, it was a different day. Water's a little bit clearer. Walking across a bridge, well, come on, all anglers like looking off a bridge, as you can see so much more with or without Polaroids. So I'm looking upstream thinking, well, any holding spots up there? Fairly straight stretch, so you're looking for a change in the pace of the current that might cause a slack. Walk around, have a good old look in there, check places out. I'm looking on the other side of the bridge. Well, don't really look about. Maybe on the right where that shadow line is, it might be a fish laying there. But I'm drawn back to this side. There's two tiny slacks either side of that branch, one behind the scum line and one on the inside corner, just down there. Absolutely, I had to drop a bait there. Uh-oh, I'm hooked up 12 feet up on the bridge. Well, I'm trying to get the net together. Why would you even bother getting the net together, Graeme? It has a 4 to 5 foot extending pole and you're 12 to 15 feet off the water. It really doesn't add up. But then again, I really wasn't the brightest tool in the box, was I? Or was I? Because I am hooked up to a pike while the anglers are blanking. There's only one outcome to this. You'd think it couldn't possibly be caught, that fish, wouldn't you? So what do? I'm looking around. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I've been in this situation many times before, in bushes, up trees, off bridges, off quays, across sandbars. Oh yes, you've took all that trouble to catch that fish, hook it up, yes sirree, you want to get a good picture of it. So what I decided to do was to back that drag right off, slack it off, get the fish into that fairly slack area there, and well, am I going to do this? I'm thinking about it. He's not going to throw the rod down there, is he, surely? I see no chance at all. I look there, no, I can't jump down that side because the rod's then the wrong side for the pike. Only one thing to do, guys, throw it away. Back that drag right off, toss it in the bushes. What's 12 feet between friends? Oh. And follow it with a net. Jump down from the bridge, run round, and yes, the pike is still hooked up. Lucky or what? Well, sort of lucky, but I mean, at the end of the day, I've done it many times before. I'm sure a lot of guys have. I'd sooner catch that fish, at least on a tough day, and I was having a blank this day on this particular session. Something just drew me to that one little swim. I thought, you know what? I've absolutely got to put a sprat through there. Was I pleased or was I pleased?
Well, there we go, guys. It doesn't get any more epic than that. About a 6-pound pike off the bridge. I had to throw my rod down off the top of the bridge, jump down the other side, but I got the fish. It just goes to show you There is nothing like light tackle fishing, and that's a rod out of the skip, the old skip rod. Nothing like it. Get out there, give it a go. Small stream pike fishing. Okay, so maybe don't jump off bridges. 63 and I'm still jumping off bridges. What a fish, let's get it back. There we go. And lower it down. One last look at it. What a crackerjack fish. I love it. Totally awesome pike fishing. There he goes. Do you know what, guys, when I was off that bridge I saw one about 8 pounds. I thought it was in a snag, gave it a tug, and this big log rolled over and sprat out. That's the second one I caught right behind this bush. Just there. Right behind that bush, just there. You can see it. Classic spot for a pike to lie. But up there, it's not a classic spot to fish from, is it really? However, it doesn't say no fishing. So hey ho, that's the way it goes. Guys, I've just come back up on the bridge, going to walk over. I couldn't resist one more drop because I told you I saw another big one down there. I've got one hooked up, it's even bigger. I'm going to try and put it in the head case in the housing, see if I can get on the head and see if this fish is still on. He is hooked up and I've just got him laying there, hopefully in the side.
When I say in the side, I don't mean he's hooked in the side. I mean he's hooked up regularly, just laying quietly in the side. And what I'm going to do is tighten up to it quickly and keep that pressure on because I don't want it going into any snags. And this one is a real nice pike. Well, it worked once before, guys. It's got to work again. Bye. Second pike. Is he going to be there? Tighten up. Where's the fish? Is he still there? We're reaching for the net. There's pressure on the line. He's taking me downstream. Is he going to the snag? No, he's still on. We're clear of the snag. Look at the scrap on this fish. I mean, get yourself a light spinning rod. Decent little lightweight reel, 12-15 pound line, and get down there and do some of this small stream fishing because it can be really exciting. You can carry as minimal gear as you want. You don't need a load of gear. You can take just a landing net. If you want to weigh them, you can weigh them. Unhooking mat, absolute minimum. Get in the net, my son. Yes, sirree. Well worth doing. Well worth getting out there for some great light rod action.
Let him recover and get rid of my other camera. Drop something in the water in a minute, but not careful. Hopefully it's not a camera or a wallet. The only thing I want to drop in the water is a sprat. Told you there was a bigger one there. What about that? What's he, 7+? A real nice pike. Superb angling skill on my part, I feel. Big jaws, he absolutely digested the sprat and whoosh, just grabbed it. Beautiful fish. Let's get it back in the water. So get out there with some light tackle, not light line, light rods, twitch sprat, small stream pike fishing. Look what you can get.